For more information on my programs, please visit masajady.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.
Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. And this is an energy update. So what is an energy update? It's a free monthly call in which I discuss the collective patterns and growth seen in the recent 21-day meta-healings in the program participants, energetic fluctuations experienced throughout the world, and then also a forecast on the upcoming month. And then I'll offer advice on what to expect and how you may fortify your spirit in anticipation of what lies ahead. So, kind of a recap of what we've gone through, what I've seen in people that I've helped, whether it's the 21 days, whether it's the group healings, group meditations, and then the direction of our, say, business, and then also what I see coming up in the future for, like, as far as the forecasting. And as a note, guys, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a financial analyst, not anything like that. Okay, these are just what I see, whatever I know. Do your own research on it. Okay? And then any part of this cannot be, say, used without our permission. So, frequencies of the season cycles. So let's talk about that. I'm just tapping into, so to go ahead and get comfortable, relax. A lot of new people on the call, so kind of scanning through, kind of categorizing into you guys in say subgroups. And as I talk about those certain subjects, not only just talking about them, but actually creating for the frequencies to help you take advantage of what's happening out there for you. Okay? Which really makes this energy update really transformational for a lot of people. So first off the list, we've got a ton of stuff that we're going to go through. And again, these are just reviews. We can go deeper into them in the podcasts that I do, Xponential Intelligence. So what are frequencies of the seasons or the cycles? So frequencies of the season cycles, again, it's always been around. There's always cycles, right? And there's million-year cycles, 10,000-year cycles, all the way down to the monthly, weekly, hourly, minute-type cycles. So so cycles within cycles. Okay. These cycles, and I talked about them, I call them the frequency waves or the purity waves that have come through. Okay? This happens to be, almost, I guess you could say a biblical proportion, 10 to, say, 15,000 years. This process or change is coming through. I call it biblical or religious type proportions because they've predicted it. That a cycle or a new cycle is beginning and no cycle ends. So they're, I guess, pretty accurate. I just see it as an energy upgrade where the extremes, the dark and the light, get cut off. And eventually, what will happen as these cycles go through, purifying us, eventually the extremes get cut off to a point where there's just no extremes. It's just us, right in that 0 point, basically in present moment all the time. Heaven on earth, right? Because there's no time reference there. So that's what it's about. The seasonal cycles we can take advantage of. It helps us prepare for the bigger cycles, helps us prepare for the life cycles. Seasonal cycles are cycles that are tuned in with the earth frequencies. So what that means is that you have spring, summer, fall, winter. And most individuals don't take advantage the way nature does. If you look at nature, It does go through a cycle, but have you noticed that it's always, say, timeless? No matter what year, no matter when you look at nature, it could have been 1,000,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, or it could be 1,000,000 years into the future. Right? Why is that, say, presence always present? Right? Why is that picturesque scene that you see in nature always, say, in the present moment? Because it is in the present moment. It can't define itself any other way, unlike humans. And that's our consciousness. That's the difference between what we have or who we are compared to anything else. We can move back and forth in time. Because of that allowance that we have, it gives us great potential to ascend higher or get, say, closer to pure source, the closest we could ever get. Than any other, say, feature or being or frequency, animal, plants, whatever, aliens, whatever you want to call it, out there. So, however, it also sets us up for failure as well. Okay? So if we get in tune with the seasonal cycles, what happens is that it will propel us, it will catapult us to our higher understanding of who we are. Okay? So to use this seasons properly, and again, we're going to be doing a full-length, say, all-out course on this, on mastering the cycles. Okay? And you might have heard these before, going with the cycles, but this is actually, say, infusing you with those frequencies of the purity of nature, or how nature recycles itself. So we'll start with spring, because it is spring. Springtime is, again, seeding, right? Doing whatever you need to do with the land to prepare it to seed. And then you have the nutrition, rainfall and so on like that, prepares for growth in the summertime. Okay? And then what happens in the fall, it's a time of letting go. Autumn, leaves fall, things that aren't needed anymore. And this is where it gets tricky for individuals. Okay? We all like, say, planting seeds for future growth. We all like the growth period. But then when fall comes around, when we're supposed to let go of things, we never do. And that's the sad thing. We never let go of those things. So what happens is, we hold on to things that we need to let go of. People, places, things, remedies, foods, whatever it is, right? Things that didn't work out. Things in retrospect that we should go through the year and go, this didn't work out. But what do? As people, we hold on to it even more, even tighter. So when winter comes around, what happens is, it's supposed to rot and decay to perpetuate abundant soil, fertile soil for the springtime. So that information, whatever experience that you had, turns around again for fertility, for fertile, dense, rich, say, nutrition of our souls or spirit. However, since we're humans, we can hold on to time. We can hold on to memory. Unlike animals and nature, again, plants, vegetation, what happens is, those things that aren't beneficial for us start to decay within us. And then that's where life starts to get distorted. So mind the cycles, and you'll see what I mean. So that's how the seasonal cycles influence our lives. Very, very important to note as you go through the season. Once you start to, say, understand that cycle, you can take advantage of it, and that's where, say, the power of nature. You can connect with the power of nature to recreate yourself and stay vibrant, because nothing's decaying within you. So look for more information on that. The frequency energy summary. So the 21 days, the frequency summary, as we go through March overview. So for the March 21 days, overall, March was an interesting month. Again, outside of the 21 days or what I saw here. Overall, it's it's a time of, say, recalibration for us. It's a time where, say, everything slowed down. It's a time where things were on pause for a lot of individuals, whether, you did anything with me or just as a world as a whole. I'm just talking about the world as a whole. If you really looked at it, there was a lot of winter storms. There was a lot of other types of storms, kind of shut down the system. So it's a time of, say, resetting or pausing, kind of like if you're on a hike. A long hike, what do? You take a breather, you kick back, you relax, you energize yourself, then you go forward. So that's what March was really there for a lot of people to, not only, say, take a breather and refresh themselves, re-energize themselves as we go forward, but it was a time where we started to realize that, hey, you know what, my pack's really heavy. As I go on this journey, I don't need to take some of the stuff that's not needed. Again, the winter season, actually the fall season, in March, so forcing you to, say, let go. And as we go through, by the way, through the year, you'll sync back up. But so again, March was really a time of, like, seeing that our packs are heavy. And we need to let go of whatever, people, places, things, remedies. Right? Some of you, some of the individuals who, again, through the work that we've done, or at world scale level, they might have thought that they're going backwards, and really they weren't. Excuse me. It was more of a, say, a review. And sometimes when you review your life, you re-experience it, and that's why you guys might have felt like you were going backwards. So, but this allows us to lighten up the load. So as April, say May, starts coming in, April's still a transition period coming through, and that's what I'm seeing, where things are recalibrating. So the financial markets that I see, the government systems and so on like that, at those levels, I don't want to call them at the higher levels because they're not really higher, but say the ones that control the masses at those levels, really recalibrating, because what they found out is not working. What they've used in the past, they're starting to realize, just like you guys at a personal level, is going, hey, you know what, it's not working. My parents tried this, I tried this, my brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, whoever tried the same damn pattern, and it's not working. And then we're stepping up to the plate and going, wow, it didn't work for all those people. So if we keep trying the same thing, why would I get different results? So April is a time of, say, recalibration for us. A lot of things will, say, leave us in April, as I'm seeing. Okay. As far as the financial markets, I think they'll actually start to see a recalibration, although you'll see you'll see the financial markets or stock markets probably start heading up, so going and getting stronger and stronger through April, May, and so on. So, which, say, creates a sense of euphoria for people, because then everybody thinks that the jobs, the industry, economics, better for all of us. Unfortunately, I think it's kind of false. So, so that's what I see for the April frequency energy forecast coming up. At a personal level, it's a great time, again, to get anything that we want out of the way. And you don't have to do anything, say, manually or physically. If you can write it down or sense it, and there's a difference, at a conscious what you want, and then at a spirit level of what you want. So pay attention to that. If you're not understanding what I mean by that, there's an internal voice deep down inside that guides you, especially for those who are, doing the work with me. If you're new, you might not be familiar with it, but you're more of a conscious type person. But for those individuals who understand what I'm saying, right? There's an internal drive. So be aware of that drive as it, say, pushes away the things in your life, no matter if it makes sense to you at a conscious level. It doesn't matter. It's what's important is, again, at a deeper, what I call source code level. Okay? At this level, for many individuals, it's not really up to us. This is where we found, say, that satisfaction or faith in our higher self, a higher, say, knowledge base that we've tapped into that allows, say, better performance in physical life here. So more abundance, basically. We're allowing, say, our higher intelligence to start taking over. In another way of putting it is that most individuals probably use less than 10% of their brain. We're awakening to using more of that percentage or that power. Hence, more abundance, health, wealth, all that. Some of you might have noticed the New York City upgrade with Alan Steinfeld. Did an interview with him. And it's interesting for New York. This is the second time I've had a public upgrade now. Throughout the years, I've always had upgrades. But the two big, I wouldn't say the biggest ones, but rather large, frequency upgrades for me. So what that means is for the new people and then for people who seasoned individuals. So what that means, and you all go through that as well as you go into that next layer. It's the same for me. As well. I go through a period of downtime, and for me, what I do is I sleep a lot. I tend to get, say, a little lazy. It was a perfect opportunity for me because I got stuck in New York City. Big snowstorm came up where I was trapped. I couldn't really do much but just enjoy the space, enjoy my birthday, which was really nice for me. As far as, say, reorganizing myself or recalibrating to see at a higher level. Those individuals who felt my frequencies, say, change, people who weren't even on the call, they texted me who knew me personally and go, wow, did something happen to you? I just see this, I feel this huge shift in you. I sensed you. I don't know what's going on. So that's how powerful it was. And it actually, say, affects people who aren't even aware of what I do or who I am or anything like that. That's how powerful it is. Just like many of you who've awakened, right? As you walk through a store or a mall, you can sense people, say, shift or transform or look at you differently, right? Because you're actually, say, transforming them. It's your frequency, that resonance. You vibrate at a higher frequency. People take note of that. So I vibrate at a higher frequency, which actually, say, not controls, but, say, affects more individuals at a deeper, more impactful way. That's all. So you look for more, say, surgical or precise transformations. And from what I'm finding out is that through my upgrade, it seems like people will go through, say, less of a detox, and I kind of say that hesitantly because you still go through the intensity, you still go through that change. Okay? But let me put it this way, why that would be for some individuals, again, because the transformations are getting faster and faster throughout the years. Okay? So imagine, see the best way to put it. Okay. Imagine a tablecloth. You know that tablecloth trick, right? Where you have dinner, plates, glasses, and so on like that, and then magician just pull the tablecloth from underneath, right? And then the dishes are still there. Okay? So in the past, because my frequencies were, say, resonating at a slower level, although quite high, and that's how I shift you. Say I pulled the tablecloth, but I didn't quite pull it fast enough. So some glasses would tip over, for example, and that's where you get that heavy detox, right? Because you would actually feel, say, the pain of, say, transformation. Okay. Now, say my frequencies are faster, so imagine me, say, pulling that tablecloth, and that tablecloth relates to, your distorted patterns, your filters, things like that have, say, kept you down, okay, no matter what it is. But now, at a faster frequency, higher frequency, I can pull that tablecloth, and again, your filters, out from underneath you, and you might not even notice, say, the impact. Well, you'll notice the impact, but you won't, say, feel it, because you'll still be stable, right? There's no glasses that have felt, that have, tipped over or anything like that. Okay? So I hope that makes sense to you. However, the intensity of transformation, again, is compressed in a shorter period of time. So we'll see what happens to individuals with, say, my upgrade, okay, or how you process it. So write in MASEI, M-A-S-E-I, so it's MAS Xponential Intelligence at MasAjati.com. So MASEI, if you're feeling, say, the upgrade on and how it's affected you. Okay? Because it's great feedback for me to understand and learn on how I can, say, benefit you guys better. We did do, and if you have any questions about that upgrade, there's part 1, part 2. It's on the website. It's about new realities. I think it's called New Realities. We also did public speaking. Public speaking, group healing. And the group healings, what they are is the group healings is really powerful. The reason for those group healings is because, it's a quite large number of people, just like this call, a lot of people on the call. And by the way, toward the end, I'll work on a couple individuals. Okay? So the group healings are very, I think, a very efficient method for us to, say, transform large numbers of people. And the reason why is that, one thing to note, by the way, is I never heal you, cure you, transform you. I awaken your own internal, say, frequencies of, say, completeness, and that's how you transform yourself. That's how you become abundant, wealthy, beyond, say, what your limitations have been, healthy, better relationships and all that. The group healings I did on public speaking, it was very interesting on public speaking because most individuals, who have taken public speaking or, they take things like Toastmasters. By the way, I took Toastmasters. If anybody needs good practice, it's a wonderful opportunity for you to understand, say, the mechanics of how to speak well in front of people. So I highly recommend Toastmasters. I think they might have, a venue in your city. Most major cities have a Toastmaster chapter. So this wasn't about, say, the mechanics of public speaking. Okay? You still need that, okay, to be a polished speaker. However, what I was creating in this public speaking group healing was really at a deeper level, say, creating that sense of confidence, speaking from the heart. Okay? And you can tell the difference between somebody that's just, say, talking, right, trying to get some information across to you or trying to sell you something, versus somebody that speaks from the heart and really, say, believes in their whatever they might be talking about. So I was getting to that that foundation or platform where, say, your uniqueness really comes through, and the frequencies of the words that you use, the patterns of the words that you use, the intonations of how you speak as you talk. Those are all, say, underlying frequencies. So in public speaking, over 97, I would say 93, 94% of, say, how you communicate is at your, say, spirit level, or what I call source code level. It's way beyond frequencies of physical matter here. Okay? These are, say, quantum type frequencies. The other 3-4% is body language, tonality, and so on. And less than 3% is the actual words that you use. And however, what do most people do? Most people practice the words. They have to have every word perfect, right? They write hours and hours perfecting their speech. So this was giving you a great foundation. And what I was noticing in the group was that most individuals, they wanted that confidence, which kind of brings up the other group healing that we did about confidence, where it's like, when I get this job, or when I get money, or when I get this education, or this knowledge, or knowing, when, and fill X in for whatever that you want, then I'll have confidence. So what I was doing in public speaking is actually pulling that in, bringing that in from that 99% of who you are. So you speak from that 99% that has knowledge of all. Right? And it really shows through. So again, write some feedback so we can improve say my services or the frequencies that I generate for you to shift. Confidence, the definition of confidence, and again, I did a group healing on that, which was really interesting, is that, I just talked about that, when I do this. So confidence, for most people's definition is that you've reached the space, and then what you have around you. Right? So accumulating knowledge, accumulating wealth, accumulating intelligence, accumulating people who know people who are in high places, whatever that might be, that gives you, say, that stability or confidence. Right? But those things shatter. There are billionaires who committed suicide in 2008. You think that money would, say, create security for them, and it never does. In fact, those individuals who create, say, outside sources to create confidence, well, those outside sources are always unstable for you, no matter how strong you think they're built. And this is very important for countries who run this way, right? If we dominate the whole world, then we'll be stable. It never ends up this way. You say you dominated the whole world, by the way, you'll start infighting, and that's what's happening to the U.S., unfortunately. So you'll start eating away at your own internal self. That happens at an individual level as well, because you can never, say, get enough with that distorted confidence. Okay? I'm not going to get into the details, and we can cover, say, a podcast on confidence. So again, Moss, EI, at massajati.com, and then write your questions down on, say, confidence. Okay, and throughout the ages, people who've displayed confidence, and I can tell you the type of confidence that they displayed. And in the podcast, I'll give you, say, the 3 different types of people, and the type of, say, frequencies that they send out, whether they're in public speaking, and in the confidence levels, and where it comes from or where it originates from. Right? But true confidence, and that's the basis of what I was trying to, say, create for you, comes from within. It's that knowing of that 99% knowledge of who you are. That's source code level frequency. Okay? And that confidence overshadows anything. Okay? This is where an individual just walks into a room, right? A board meeting, whatever meeting, a bikers meeting, a get-together. They walk into that room, sit at that table, and they just exude that presence. Right? Wouldn't you want to be one of those individuals? Right? They don't even have to say a thing. They don't have to impress you by how much money they've made that year, what their title is, who they sleeping with, or whatever, or how many people they've slept with, or whoever, and all that stuff. It's nothing like that. It comes from, say, an internal level. They just know who they are. Right? The nice thing about that is, if you have that type of confidence, the material things around you that you, say, that gravitate toward you, is basically gifts blessed upon you by your spirit. Because that confidence, again, is that connection between you and your source code, or your spirit level. So that's a definition of true confidence. And again, it's timeless. It never fades with age. changing times, changing morality, changing technologies. It's always there for you. This is where character comes in, by the way. School shootings, we did a free group healing on school shootings, and there was a march, this past week, I believe, on, say, getting more gun control. I was reading some statistics on that. In the U.S., it takes an hour for you to buy a gun. In other countries, it's about 3 months to a year. So I think that, again, for me, it's very important to really check those individuals out at a deeper level. Okay? I don't believe in, and this is my personal preference, I don't believe in controlling guns, but the people who have guns should be, at a, say, sane level. They should have their records checked and so on like that. It creates, say, more anarchy, for gun control, where nobody can have guns, because the only people who can have guns are the criminals, and who buy their way through, federal agencies or whoever, because there's a lot of corruption in the federal agencies. So the good people who are actually well-intended will be without guns, and it doesn't serve any purpose. You'll still have school shootings. We get down to the core level. Again, I did a talk on that, on the school shooting. So the details of that are in the talk. And just as a brief, I got into, say, why school shootings would happen. Okay? Because you can put gun control, you can do a lot of controls, you can do a lot of laws. Okay? But if we're not at a, say, a higher value society, you put more laws on and more laws, and it perpetuates. The key is that we have to, say, create a higher level society for us, and then you would actually need less laws. You would have more freedom, and everybody has to do a part of it. Okay? So the March 21 day. The March 21 day was very interesting. We started out really strong for the group. Really started out strong. A lot of people with motivation and so on like that. And then what happened? We kind of petered out towards the middle, from what I saw, because people didn't want to let go of some of the stuff that they really identified with. Again, with the Xponential Intelligence through the 21 days, EI, I'll call it from now on. It forces you to, say, remove anything that's not true for you. No matter how endeared you are, no matter how indebted you are, how invested you are, no matter if it's been a family tradition for eons, or whatever that you think. Okay? If it's wrong, okay? And by wrong, I mean if it doesn't allow you to be your complete highest self, then it's wrong. And that's just, again, that's my definition of, say, wrong frequencies or distorted frequencies. Okay? Again, I wouldn't care about your religion or concepts or ideas or how much you've invested, your time, your life, how much you've loved something. If it's not working, if it's wrong, if it's not, say, connecting you to a higher level of understanding of yourself, then it's wrong. Okay? Most individuals, say, don't get to that point. They do through, say, this break in them. They finally have to break apart. So through the 21 days, what happened is that we started out really strong. It's like, yes, I want to change. I want to change. I want to change. It's kind of like this cartoon I saw. It's like, the guy comes up, speaker says, "Hey guys, how many of you want change?" And everybody raises their hand, and it's like, well, how many people are willing to change, or want, change, and then nobody raises their hand. So same thing here, through the 21 days, it's like, you mean I have to let go of this? But that's my identity. It's like, well, that's why you did the 21 days. You wanted to be, say, abundant in all areas. So that's part of the process. So we did get through it, but it took us a little longer, that midsection, creating, say, a strong foundation. So we'll see what the April 21-day participants are like. So we've talked a lot about the project inspirations between the mission of Project Superhuman and human potentiality. That's what we're going towards. We're getting more and more, say, as far as business-wise, or our business focus, Masati Inc., we're getting more towards, say, human potentiality, right? Or what I call the Superhuman Project. So the Superhuman Project, briefly, is really about going beyond, say, going beyond that space of a time-bound individual. Unfortunately, and I'm going to draw it out. Basically, I'll do a short little diagram, because I think diagrams are really the way to go for most people to help understand. I found out that if I'm drawing, like, we're having dinner, I draw a diagram for people. They go, "Oh, I get it," so it makes it easier. So, by the way, I'll be presenting more with maybe diagrams on social media or YouTube or anything like that for you. But also with that, before I get to the superhuman, before I forget, is we'll be doing more video coming up. So anyway, the Superhuman Project. So imagine, and I'm not going to get into all the details, but you've heard of, say, scientists say we only use, say, 10% of our potentiality or brain power. So what would the other 90% be like? So the Project Superhuman is about getting our brain power higher, right? So we will use more and more. So if we're using 100%, close to it, of our brain power, imagine what kind of civilization this would be. Imagine that, as a whole, there's a lot of waste going on. Just like we trash a lot of, I heard from one space, and this is kind of aside, restaurant food, 40% of the food gets wasted, right? So about, say, 60% of our human potential gets wasted on things that we have to protect, we have to, say, save, we have to do. All that energy and effort, just like the food that we waste, is wasted on guarding things, securing things, fearing things. And if we were at a higher level, even at 20% or 30%, imagine the communities, the society, the global system that we would have. A lot of laws wouldn't exist. We would focus that 60 or 70 or 80% that we spend on warfare, security, insecurities, all that stuff. Right? We could spend that time on understanding human potentiality. And that's not even getting to the superhuman level. That's just understanding being human. That 90% or 100%, that's tipping it into, say, the superhuman potential, where we start to realize where we can actually, say, be timeless beings in physical form. So it goes beyond, again, the human potential, the default potential of who we're supposed to be. We haven't even reached, again, like 10%, as scientists put it. So that's the project that the business scope is going towards. So if you're interested, fantastic. If you've brought a lot of baggage, okay, it might not be for you. Okay? There's a lot of free stuff that we do for you. So again, if you've brought a lot of baggage, if you're fearful and so on like that, because as my abilities get stronger, by the way, guys, I won't be able to, say, stop for people who need, say, extra help. And I'm not saying that in a mean way or anything like that. But those people who need extra help, it would be, say, too intense, those frequencies generated for you. So that's why we're redesigning the 21 days to accommodate those individuals. We're going to have, say, the standard version, 21 days, and then also a higher end version for those individuals who are ready to go at a faster pace. Okay? So a lot of good stuff coming up for the year. On April 21 day is really getting into the programs of and that's part of the superhuman. Again, probably in May, June, we'll probably roll out the new 21 days. But on the 21 days, on the April 21 days, we'll be focusing on really helping you, say, let go. So it's a little off, but letting go of the old so we can plant some new stuff for the upcoming year. Okay. We'll also introduce the 21-day package. It accommodates different levels of development, and then also it allows people who don't have the funds, so those individuals can get involved as well. So we're trying to accommodate all levels for you. Okay. As a brief, and then we'll just work on some people here. April events coming up: the Green Living Show in Toronto. Really powerful. It's interesting, they didn't even want me to speak there, and now, we're one of their favorite exhibitors because we brought so many people, and we were the busiest booth. Public service coming up April 11th. Public service free event in Toronto, the Feminine Divine. It's going to be online and in person, right? And it's the importance of femininity. Okay? And I don't want to cut the feminine movement, that the women power that's coming up, but my goodness, it's really women who are losing their identity with masculine frequencies, and trying to say make a space in society for themselves, but they're using masculine frequencies to get the job done. So overall, they'll lose their identity. This is true femininity. This is the power of being a woman. Okay? And guys, if you're on the call, that's totally fine, because if women understand that how to be a strong woman, okay, it's important for you to be on that call as well. So one, if you have a wife, a spouse, a wife, girlfriend, sister, mother, whoever, your frequencies will help those individuals. Plus, it'll show you how to be a strong man as well. So it's good for both male and female. And by the way, it goes beyond sexual preferences. It's just a strong woman, strong male type frequencies. So that's coming up April 12th. Oracle Circle in Toronto. It's going to be an evening of knowing and deserving, online and in person. Seems like the online one quite popular, so we've opened up the Oracle Circle to be online as well. Okay. And this is, it's talking about April 12th, the Oracle Circle, an evening of knowing and deserving. So what that is about is, we came from spirit. At some point we knew that we were loved, but at what point did we lose that knowing that we are deserving of all that love? So it's going to be about that. The private Oracle Circle takes you to a journey back to the origin, where I guide you back into where we forgotten, say, that knowing, that deservability, and returning you back home to understanding, say, that inherent truth of all that you are. So that's the scope, or that's the mission for the Oracle Circle coming up for you. The reason why I chose that topic is for many individuals, deserving is one of the, say, important keys of unlocking our potentiality. Okay? So let's go ahead and take some calls. Just a couple calls as we wrap up. We'll go to Livermore, California. Hello, Moss.
Hi, Moss. Could you scan me, please?
Sure. Have I worked on you before?
Yes.
Okay. Again, you probably seem like the ideal individual. And the reason why I asked if I've worked on it before is like things might have not have changed, but then the last 2 or 3 months, probably from January, a lot of things like breaking apart, or you're starting to see finally change coming for you. Does that make sense to you? So, or no?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's really changing, though.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about that. Are things falling apart for you, or you can't, say, do old patterns don't work out, old solutions to patterns don't work out for you? Does that make sense?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, for you, and that's why I said you're that ideal person, because you might have taken a while, but now things might get worse for you. Okay, and then what you'll do, and this is why it's taking you a little longer to change, is that you'll try to reclaim that and try to get things in order, because you don't want any instability in your life. You have to have instability in your life in order for it to change. Does that make sense for you? So 1, 2, 3. So it's try to happen. It's try to break apart like 3, 4 times for you, but then you try to put it together. Right, try to keep the peace, basically. This time, I don't think you can keep the peace. Things will have to break apart for you, whether you like it or not. It'll just break apart, and then that's where you see change, and you'll go, "Damn, I should have let this go." A year or 2 ago. Okay?
Well, I feel like I should be changing, and then I feel like it's really close, and then it just kind of fades away, and I have some guilt and worthlessness and shame issues still happening.
Yeah, exactly. So with that pattern, imagine when you were a younger person, right? I want to say like 9 to 14. You kind of kept the peace, right? The guilt, shame, whatever. Somebody got mad, and what would you do? You try to rectify it by losing yourself. Does that make sense? So that pattern is a strong pattern that has to break apart. So just let it all go. My abilities can... Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am letting it go, because I got a message from my spirit about that today, and it was a little... it was just like it didn't even want to come through, but I kept on with it. It's like, I feel no guilt, shame, or worthlessness. It's like, I'm ready. I'm done.
That's good.
Let's go. Let's get on with it.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So, and that's another message from your spirit. That's why I probably picked you as well, is again, you can let go of that. And this is where things will fall apart. Things, people will shame you into stuff, and you go, you know what? I don't care anymore. So, so congratulations, you're at that breaking point. Okay? So just let it go and not care. Let's move on. We'll go to... let's go to Phoenix, Arizona. Hello, Swan.
Moss, is it me?
It is. It is you, yes.
In deep honor and appreciation, thank you so much. Would you read my Danny blueprint, please?
Sure. So,
tell me what I need to be doing.
Yeah, you seem to be at a level, again, you've probably seen a lot of changes, and for the last caller, it'd behoove you to listen to this, because I think you were at that same space, and maybe not as deep as her, but then once changes came through, it kind of, it showed up quite efficiently for you. Does that make sense to you? Or no?
Well,
first change.
I think that I'm on like a hamster wheel, and I get to a point, and I get successful, okay. and then I lose everything, and I'm right back here now, lower than ever. I haven't had any business in 3 months, and it's already April 1st. Okay. I've been through your advanced healing mastery, and I'm just like, okay, I know my spirit isn't going to let me go hungry or homeless, so I'm here. I'm here.
So again, from what I'm seeing, if you've noticed, things do change for you, but like you said, you get to this level that you can't maintain that change. So as we've been speaking, working on you to break through that space. This is where the physical aspects of your life start to change. So what you've done is, again, this is the process. for everybody. At spirit level, if you've noticed, things are, say, all your ducks are in a row. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Does that feel right to you? Okay. So now, and it took you a while to get your ducks in a row. Okay. And I think there was a month or two that you were really, say, frustrated, infuriated by, say, your living situation, the people that you hung around with, all those things. Does that make sense to you? Or no? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, you know what? I've changed all that. I mean, that was before, and I think my big question is, help me to surrender so that I can push through this.
Well, I'm just telling you that you've surrendered, and that's why the frustration and all those things that you went through is because it shows you, and this is where people who run your patterns, it gets a little confusing because we've been taught, if we get frustrated, we're supposed to calm down. We're not supposed to say, disrupt things, right? We're supposed to keep a calm, but in your situation and in many people's situation, that's how you've been controlled. So your spirit will use that same pattern to frustrate you, get angry, get you motivated enough where you stand up for yourself, because that's one of your key, say, issues with you. You'd never stand up for yourself. You get to the point, it's like, okay, it's my turn now. I'm going to take what's, say, offered to me and hold on to it, that deserving space. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the key, and that's why you can't hold on to things, because you get to the point, and then what happens is like, I'm going to let, say, somebody else take this because, well, that's the kind of person I am. Somebody else will take your spot. So you're just as deserving as anybody else, by the way. So through this talk, I was working on you pushing through and going, gosh, I do deserve what anybody else is, so it doesn't drop down. There's a lot of, say, religious patterns in you, by the way. That's kind of, I can't quite tell what it is because you've done a great job deleting it through whatever that you've done with me. Does that make sense to you? But that holds you back as well, because if you get to a certain level of, say, physical abundance, then you might not go to heaven. That's your concept, by the way. That's not your concept, but that's your family's concept. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does. Mas, I think I was 50 before I ever voted for myself, and that's because of religion. Religion was be unselfish and pick someone else. Let someone else get ahead, be picked, be president, captain, whatever. I finally got it.
Right. So it's about you, and then to many people listening, it's like, God, Moss is teaching her to be selfish. It's the best way to save the world. I mean, once you get, say, strong and powerful, just imagine all the other people that will, say, rise up with you. Does that make sense? So being selfish is it's a divine, say, emotion to have, or attribute to have. Because in any religion, if you read about it, it's like perfect yourself first, then perfect others. That's all I'm talking about, right? So it doesn't go against your grain, by the way. So this is a great opportunity. Just to read you the next month or two, from what I'm seeing, a lot of things like change for you, and you get to hold on to it, and then you'll run that pattern of, okay, I've held on to it for a few months. When is that that next shoe gonna drop? And then you'll see the shoe doesn't have to drop. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, okay, and that's your new pattern. So. All right, so,
well, you told me a long time ago, once I got on the wave, I was going to ride it a long time, and I keep thinking, oh, am I on it? Am I on it? But not quite. But I'll tell you,
you'll know. Yeah, you'll know.
My children have imparted the selfishness, so it works for them, and I watch them, and I learn so much from them because they don't put up with anything. And, of course, they didn't have religious training like I did either, but they get it. Mm-hmm. They took care of them first.
Right. Right. And it, like you said, it worked for them. So, again, learn from them. Right?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Very nice. We'll just take one more caller, guys. And there's a ton of people, so just bear with me. Let's go to an outside caller, 0334. It's outside the U.S. Hello, this is Moss.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
Yes, hi. Hi.
Hi. Can you just scan me?
Sure. It just seems like you, through the work that you've done, I don't know how long you've been with me, but the last, say, 3 months? The last 2-3 months, you seem more solid and more in real time or more here, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations. This is where, other presences around you from, say, other realities or other dimensions might have, say, integrated with you or come into you. You might have been, you were probably that individual, when you were younger where you could see other realities or other, you might have had even imaginary friends that weren't so imaginary and so on. Yeah. So through what you've done with me is basically I've helped you, say, pull yourself into this single reality. And that's why you feel more stable and more complete. Does that make sense to you? More sane.
Yeah, totally. I was having that thought today.
Yeah, it's so nice. And it'll perpetuate. The nice thing about this, with people that run your frequencies of having abilities to go into, say, different dimensions, is that once you know exactly where you are, it's all about time and space. So once you know exactly, say, where your body is created here in this dimension, what'll happen is that you can go into those other realities or dimensions and bring back a lot of knowledge. And, when you come back, since you're connected, you'll actually remember that knowledge. It'll help you. It'll help other people as well. I can see you seeing future vision for people or solving solutions for people, and all those solutions come from different realities or different time frames that you come into or that you can access. So it's a really cool ability. It's kind of like Rick and Morty. I don't know. I don't watch Rick and Morty, but you probably won't like it, but they go into different dimensions.
I'll have to look it up and see.
Yeah. So, but did that make sense for you? So I was helping you really identify this space. Some of the symptoms or the benefits that you'll feel, just so you're on track. When you touch something or even sense your body, you'll really feel it in 3D. It's like feeling things for the first time. It's like being alive for the first time. Does that make sense to you? That's one of the key. Time might be a little slower for you. Because you can actually say master time. You can say relish time. Enjoy it. Those kind of side effects, which is really cool for you. So.
Yeah, I've been experiencing that this last week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Great.
So you're on your way, again, creating more solidification for you. And then when you're ready, and you'll know when you're ready, I can help you, say, get out of, say, this dimension safely. And then you can take advantage of what I talked about for you. Okay?
Great.
But not just yet. So that's really a nice gift to have if you use it properly. But a disaster if it's not. I mean, look at is it your father? Some man? Was he drunk or something, or alcoholic, or?
My father, no. My ex partner, which was about 6 years ago, he was an alcoholic. Okay,
so got it. So he feels like your father, by the way. So that pattern of relationships removing for you as well. Maybe that's why it shows up. So you're getting rid of that as well. So you won't attract. Well, are you in a relationship now?
I haven't been in a relationship for 6 years. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I
think my spirit was keeping me safe.
Yes. So So basically, you would attract people who are lost in different dimensions, and they would latch onto you, and then you would get sucked with them further away from yourself. So that's, again, your spirit keeping you safe. So that pattern of relationships, they removed for you as well, and that's why I saw this, again, alcoholic father figure type relationship that you would connect with. That is releasing itself as well, so you can come into a good, strong relationship. Someone that'll keep you here. Okay, beneficial. So, congratulations on that aspect as well. That's a whole new life coming up for you, sweetie. Very nice. Very proud of you. Write in. Do you journal? You seem to journal, or you seem to do well writing, from what I've seen.
Okay, I don't actually, and I'm a bit dyslexic, so I don't. But I've been told by many people that I should write. But I'm happy to write in for you.
Okay. Yeah, write in, and just give me a second here. Let's just work on your dyslexia. Again, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but let's just... the people who are dyslexic, again, coming into... They're really interesting. You can actually... You have, a broader scope of how you see this reality. And if you used properly... with just a little calibration, again, a much wider, say, possibility as well with that broader scope on how to, say, solve things. But, again, unfortunately, most people don't know how to use dyslexia the proper way or harness, say, that potential that it has. So just give me a second to help you understand that. How are you feeling, if anything? If not, that's fine too.
It just felt like an expansion in my head.
Yeah, kind of, so let's see how that works. And again, write in, because I'd like to keep tabs so I understand my abilities to perfect it even more. All right? That'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you, Mav.
You're so welcome. You take care. All right, guys. Thanks for being on the call, guys. Any feedback on how we can make these energy updates more efficient? Because, again, we're going towards a whole new paradigm, business-wise, help you guys better. Let us know. Okay, drop us a line, customer with an S, at masajati.com. Take care, guys. Bye.
For more information on my programs, please visit masajati.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.